People don't leave.
Yeah.
People don't leave. I mean, my whole family still lives there. People just stay. And I think that says a lot about the community, where people don't want to leave.
So what is it like to grow up in Huntington Beach and see the city really change over the last 50 years? Has the culture really stayed true to its roots, or is Surf City becoming something else entirely? Welcome back to the Huntington Beach podcast, where we uncover stories that make Surf City special. I'm your host, Gary Watt, discovering Huntington Beach as someone new to the area. And let me tell you, it's a place full of history, culture, and unforgettable characters. Today's guest, Rich Rector, is one of those characters. He's a true Huntington Beach local who's seen it all, from the days of the sleepy surf town to a thriving hub as it is today. Not only is he a successful real estate broker and entrepreneur, but his insights to what makes HB tick are unmatched. So whether you lived here all your life or you're new, like me, Rich's story will give you a deeper appreciation for this city. But here's the question. Do you think Huntington Beach is staying true to its identity, or do you think it's changing too much? Let us know your thoughts, and the conversations might challenge the way you see our city. Okay, so Rich, can you describe to me, how did the Huntington Beach Pier look like 50 years ago? And was it any different? Has it changed a lot? What was it back then?
Well, it was shorter, and it was made out of wood. And a couple times that I can remember, big storms took it down. So now it is higher, it's made out of concrete, and it's longer. Some different shops where you can rent kites and buy different merchandise and things like that. So it's kind of turned into the extension of the street over the ocean. And it's great. People fish from it, and it's a real focal point of downtown Huntington Beach.
So before, it was this almost a rinky-dink kind of wooden structure coming through?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Changed over time, and the storms made that change because I couldn't handle it.
Now, was that like a really focal point of Huntington Beach? I mean, as a kid, I'm just thinking young Rich taking out his dates to the pier or something like that. Is that a place to go?
Well, there were some cool places. There was a place called Maxwell's that was right at the beginning of the pier where we had our high school post-graduation party and things like that. Now that's Duke's, that's there today. And the downtown area hasn't really changed a lot, other than it's newer and been rehabbed and different stores and things like that. But we used to have the Golden Bear, which was a cool place where bands would play. A lot of famous bands played there. And the downtown area, again, you can see the homes that are 60, 70 years old. You can still see the oil wells that are in some of the backyards there. So from that standpoint, it hasn't really changed a lot, other than it's just newer and been updated and that kind of thing.
Tell me an unforgettable moment in your childhood in Huntington Beach. I know your mom has told me a story where you used to run around and swim and everything like that, but what's one that sticks out to you?
Yeah, well, a lot of those things, growing up there for over 50 years, a lot of the little beaches, the private little beaches in Huntington Harbor, they call them Mama's Beach, where the mothers would take their kids and the kids could swim in the harbor because there wasn't any waves and stuff. And so that was fun. One of the things where I wasn't so much a kid, but more of a teenager, is Huntington Beach is Surf City, right? The surf capital. They used to have, now it's the US Open, they used to have the OP Pro. And I remember one year where there was the riots. You can Google and find out about, where it was just crazy. And after that, they changed the hiring practices of the police department. And I think today, you got to be about 6'4" and about 225 to be a Huntington Beach police officer, because they cracked down on some of the craziness that used to go on down there.
Oh, crazy. So, I heard from Ed from a story, there was 951 area code people that came down to Huntington. It wasn't actually the community of Huntington Beach rioting.
Yeah, we get a lot of that even today, where there's a lot of people that come down, because it's a huge focal point. I mean, now we have major hotel chains along the coast, and it's a lot of fun. We have concerts on the beach, so it draws people from everywhere. And because of that, you do get a lot of people that come down, and there's challenges and trouble that occurs because there's bars and all that kind of stuff.
So how do you think that influx of tourism changes Huntington Beach? Has it been more of a blessing, or do you think a challenge for the community as a whole?
For me personally, I think it's been a blessing. It's really elevated the home prices, as well as the revenues have been invested back in the city. So there's been a lot of rehabilitation with our malls and stores and streets. And the beach is one of the prettiest, most clean beaches you'll find in Southern California. So from that standpoint, I think it's been great.
Good. And what's one of the misconceptions you think think people have about Huntington Beach and the people of Huntington Beach that kind of gets under your skin and kind of bugs you?
I think people have a perception that we're a bunch of rowdies, but it's really a family community. I mean, we have 52 neighborhood parks in Huntington Beach. There's just a real sense of family. A lot of people that work in Los Angeles live in Huntington Beach, so it's a bedroom community. So I would say that it's just that more of the beach riffraff, but it's not. I mean, there's almost 200,000 people that live in Huntington Beach, and that's just one area. And like I said, since it's all been remodeled and rehabbed, it's really a beautiful place, and downtown and all the hotels and the new restaurants. So it's a place to see for sure.
So any advice you would give anybody looking to go to Huntington Beach? Why is this a great place? I mean, I'm moving into Huntington Beach. What is some advice you would give someone to say this could be a place to call home, your hometown?
Huntington Beach is a place that's still relatively affordable for a beach community in Southern California. And again, it's new and fresh with some hip places and stores. It's a beautiful beach where if you have kids and you want to raise a family, we've got 4 major high schools in the area. We have lots of parks. We have harbor. We have the Bolsa Chica wetlands. There's so much to do there, whether it's just hiking, whether it's going to the beach, bike riding. And it's really centrally located if you want to go to Palm Desert in an hour and a half, or you want to go skiing in Big Bear, in an hour and a half, or you need to get to LA and go see some of your favorite sports teams. So it's a really great, safe community with great schools and great home values, really.
So going back a little nostalgic, would you say, and growing up as a kid, that feeling of Huntington Beach versus now, has the vibes changed at all, or is it about the same and you think it's more relaxed, or what do you think about the changes that have gone through with that?
I think that like it was everywhere, it was a little bit safer than when you were younger kids
in the 50s,
walking around.
right?
Yeah, walking around in 60s. It's where you can walk around and go to the parks and do the stuff by yourself, ride your bike all over the place when you're a young kid. But nowadays, with the way that the world is, I mean, that's changed everywhere.
Yeah.
But other than that, the difference in the change, I think, is really just the newness of it. It's really the same fun, happy beach town, family community, great sporting environment for the kids with all the different events and clubs and YMCA and all the things that happen there. It's a great place to raise a family.
It's what I see that's a common theme when I'm talking to more people, is it's generational. You get some generational Huntington Beach people staying in Huntington Beach, born and raised, and their grandparents were also part of Huntington Beach.
Very good point.
Very much further down, right?
Yeah, very good point. People don't leave.
Yeah.
People don't leave. I mean, my whole family still lives there, right? And we've lived there for well over 50 years. My sister lives there. I live there. People just don't leave. A lot of my high school friends are still in the area as well. And yet that's a really good point that people just stay. And I think that says a lot about the community, where people don't want to leave.
Do you see it changing in any ways that might be for the good or for the bad? 50 years later, in 2074, what message would you want to give them as you see the shifts in the society?
I think that population growth is something that we always have to look at. Everybody wants to come to the beach. So the demand's always going to be there. And the more homes and high-rise apartments and things that we continue to build there is just going to create congestion and traffic and taxing of the infrastructure like it would do anywhere. So I think those are things that we always have to look at in communities that I think is going to be a challenge over time, because more and more people are going to relocate or locate or polarize to a certain area, and it's generally going to be the areas that are coastal.
So do you think with the population growth, should we have more density in high rises, or should we keep them the same? Does that solve the problem at all? How would you say, if you're the mayor of Huntington Beach, what would you say would be maybe a strategy that could be as the population?
I think that the strategy would have to be on the infrastructure, the roads, the streets, to make sure that you can handle bringing in an extra 1,000 units or something. That's going to be a challenge, because you don't want to have gridlock. You don't want to have a great town that all of a sudden you can't get into. And you see a lot of that in different communities, and like in Los Angeles and stuff, trying to get down to Santa Monica and some of these areas, you're in gridlock. And people that live there, you don't want to be in gridlock just trying to get home from work.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Rich. Really appreciate your insights.
Thank you.
And all that you do for the community as well.
Thank you, Gary.
Great. Rich's story is such a great reminder of why Huntington Beach is more than just a beach town. It's a place where people can grow up, connect, and leave lasting impressions. Now, I want to hear from you. If you grew up in Huntington Beach, what is the one thing you think has changed the most? And is it for the better or for the worse? Please share your thoughts. Another question that I had is, do you think Huntington Beach has stayed true to its surf city roots, or has it evolved into something completely different? Please let us know in your comments. And thank you for tuning into the Huntington Beach podcast. And if you've got a story to tell, memories or opinions about Huntington Beach, please do not hold back. Drop a comment, DM us, or reach out to us on our website. And be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who just loves our surf city as much as we do. Let's keep celebrating everything that makes Huntington Beach an amazing place to call home. Until next time, we'll see you later.